Good morning. Welcome to Chalice Unitarian Universalist Congregation. We are a community of diverse beliefs and experiences, nurturing the liberal religious spirit and united by our desire to grow in love and in service. Whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever your life's journey, you are welcome here. Whether you gather with us every Sunday, once or twice a year, or are with us this morning for the first time, we're so glad you are here. I'm Reverend Sharon Wiley, Chalice's minister. Our worship musician this morning is our music director, Tim McKnight. Welcome to this online worship service. Welcome to those of you watching live using Zoom Sunday morning. Welcome to those of you watching the recording of this service later on our YouTube channel. For those of us using Zoom, please notice on your menu you have a button that says CC Live Transcript. This is Zoom's closed captioning service, and you can click on it to hide the subtitle or show the subtitle. You're in control if that function is on or off on your screen. Also on your menu is the chat button for those of us who like to use the chat box during the service, and we're welcome to do that. But be sure that when you post, you use the little blue menu there to select everyone. If you only chat with the host and the panelists, that all of those people are me, I might not see your message during the service, and I might not realize your message only came to me. So let's give ourselves a hug of hello and welcome, exchange hugs. If you share space with people and everybody consents to hugging. Finally, I want to especially welcome those of you who are newcomers at Chalice this morning. Towards the end of the service, I'll put a link in the chat box for adding your name to our email list. Our weekly email is the best way to get information about our groups and activities, most of which are either still happening on Zoom or are postponed until our Omicron numbers come back down. And we also hope to be offering in-person worship within the next month or so, if numbers come down. And so again, email is the best way to keep an eye on that. Now, let's take a breath together. We begin our service by acknowledging that wherever each of us is watching, if we are in what is now called the United States, then we are on land that has been stolen from indigenous peoples. Our congregational home in what is now called Escondido is on land that is part of the traditional territories of the 12 bands of the Kumeyaay Nation and the 7 bands of the Payamkasham, also called the Luiseno. Land that is sacred to us now was stolen from people for whom that land is also sacred. In recognition that we are the beneficiaries of a history of colonialism, we have made financial donations in the past year to 3 local indigenous-led organizations, California Indian Legal Services and Indigenous Centers at SDSU and at CSU San Marcos. It is our hope at Chalice to find our way to right relationship with local tribes. Now, we light our chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. Our chalice lighting words are adapted from those by Reverend Cynthia Landrum. In this time of challenge and struggle, we gather ourselves in to light the fire, to warm our spirits, to kindle the flame of love and hope. May our chalice flame burn brightly, that all who are seeking may be warmed. Beauty is the antidote to brokenness. This insight came to me a few years ago on sabbatical. I was taking good care of my body, resting and eating well. I was taking good care of my mind, reading and studying. But what about my broken heart? I wondered. How do I tend to my grief, my hurt, my confusion about the world? Beauty is the antidote to brokenness. The answer came to me as clearly as if the words had been spoken to me, and I picked up a book of art and immersed myself. I wrote poetry. I went to public gardens. I went to art museums. The hope of our service this morning is to offer you experiences of beauty, not to talk about beauty, but to experience the beauty of music, of poetry, of art. Beauty is the antidote to brokenness. The words of our call to worship. You whose hearts are broken, welcome. You whom pain has touched and sorrow and shock. You who have cried this week and read the news with anger. You whom loss has shadowed, you who grieve, welcome, welcome. You with hearts open to joy and hope, welcome. You whom love has touched and friendship and wonder. You who have laughed this week and felt gratitude for life's many blessings. You to whom gifts are given in abundance. You who rejoice, welcome, welcome. All our hearts are broken and open. All of us grieve and rejoice. This is our hour to gather and sing and cry and laugh. Welcome. Let us worship together. You're invited to join in singing. Our Sunday worship is the shared spiritual practice of our community, and we tend to the congregation during this time by sharing and honoring our joys and sorrows. If you would like to share a joy or sorrow with the congregation this morning, now is the time for sharing in the chat box. These aren't spoken out loud. They don't become part of the recording. If you'd like to send me a confidential note about your joy or sorrow, please email me. I'll put my email address in the chat box. Today is our annual worship service honoring the Neo-Pagan and Celtic holidays of Imbolc, traditionally celebrated on February 1st at the midpoint between winter solstice and spring equinox. This is a celebration of the earliest signs of spring, when little bits of green might start to show through places where there's snow. The word Imbolc comes from a Gaelic word for milking, referring to the ewe's milk that indicates the coming birth of the lambs. In a time of long, hard winter, it is important to celebrate even the smallest signs that winter will indeed come to an end. This holiday is strongly associated with the goddess Brigid, also sometimes pronounced breed and bride. The goddess Brigid, the greatest of the Celtic divinities, is the goddess of poetry, healing, everything high and elevated, such as wisdom, excellence, perfection, high intelligence. And she is also associated with hearth and home. She's also worshipped in the Catholic tradition as Saint Brigid, whose feast day is February 1st. Saint Brigid is one of Ireland's patron saints. Please join in singing. Now a reading of Brigid Legends, compiled by Reverend Elizabeth Buki. Once upon a time, there was a holy and powerful woman named Brigid. Maybe she was a woman, maybe a saint, maybe she was a goddess. The mists of time and legend mean there are many different stories about her and who she was and is. She lives in between. They say she was born in the doorway of a barn at dawn on February 1st. So she was born in between, indoors and outdoors, winter and spring, night and day. They say that when she was born, a light like a flame appeared out of her head and stretched all the way to the sky. They say that she loves milk and butter. When she was a baby and couldn't eat, a white cow with red ears appeared to feed her with milk. And that when she was a girl, she gave away all her mother's supply of butter to the poor. Then when she prayed, even more butter appeared, enough to replace all that she'd given away. They say that she gave away precious things to poor people so they could buy food to feed their families. They say she wanted to start a community dedicated to praying and good work. She came to the king and said, "Give me this land to build the community." It was a good place on a hill near a lake for water, near a forest with wood for fires to keep warm. A good place to grow food, a place with blueberries to eat and make into jam. The king said, "No, this is my land." So she and her sisters prayed for the king to change his mind. She asked again and said, "Give me as much land as my cloak will cover." Now, can you do much with the amount of land one person's coat can cover up? No, you can't. So the king laughed at her and said, "Certainly, I will grant you this." But Brigid's 4 sisters took her cloak and stretched it out. One of them walked east, one of them walked south, one of them walked west, one of them walked north. And the cloak grew and spread and covered the whole land, everywhere they could see, the whole place she wanted to build her community. And the king realized she was holy and blessed and gave her not just the land, but other gifts. And so they say that we gather under Brigid's cloak or mantle of healing and wonder. They say that Brigid's place had a holy flame that had burned from the beginning of time, and that Brigid would bless candles and hearths and forges. That if she didn't have anywhere to hang her cloak, she would hang it on a sunbeam. They say that Brigid's place had a holy well, and washing in the water or drinking it would heal you. They say she brought life. If she leaned on something wooden, the dead wood would begin to sprout. They say that she could turn water into beer, and that cows who ran dry would give lots of milk if she touched them, so that no one was ever hungry. They say that this is Brigid's time of year. Now, halfway in between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. That now is a time to bless the candles and celebrate with milk and butter and blueberry jam. To tend the flame, to drink healing waters, to give food to people who need it. To remember that even though the trees look dry and dead, they will sprout again. To know that even though snow covers the ground like a cloak, the seeds are stirring and alive, waiting for the spring. This week, someone told me, "I'm feeling so down and I don't know why. Oh, by the way, my daughter has been exposed to COVID again." This week, I asked someone for a favor and they replied, "Happy to do it. Oh, by the way, someone important to me has COVID and I've been exposed too. I feel like a big mess." This week, I asked someone, "How are you?" And they said, "I'm struggling. I'm having a hard time. This week, I reached out to someone I haven't seen in months to say, I miss you and I'm thinking of you. They replied, I'm embarrassed to have been gone so long. Life has been so hard. Month after month of pandemic, and suddenly in January 2022, for many of us, perhaps most of us, it is as hard as it has ever been. Grateful for vaccines, we wonder why we don't feel okay. Why aren't we happier? 874,000 people have died in our country, more than 5 million worldwide, and every day, every week, still more. Too many people unvaccinated, too many people so vulnerable. That's why we don't feel okay. That's why we aren't happier. Take a breath with me. You are not alone. You are not alone. And I know you worry about me, but I am not alone. We all feel alone sometimes, but that's a trick of our frail human minds. We are held in an interdependent web of love and support, whether we feel it or not. And our work, whether we like it or not, is to keep going, to keep on keeping on. Like the grasses, through the dark, through the soil, to the sunlight, we will rise again.
We will never, never lose our way to the well of her memory and the power of her living flame. It will rise again. We will never, never lose our way to the well of her memory and the power of her living flame. It will rise again. We will never, never lose our way to the well of her memory and the power of her living flame. It will rise again. We will never, never lose our way to the well of her memory and the power of her living flame. It will rise again. We will never, never lose our way to the well of her memory and the power of her living flame. It will rise again. We will never, never lose our way to the well of her memory and the power of her living flame. It will rise again. We will never, never lose our way to the well of her memory and the power of her living flame. It will rise again. Like the grasses, through the dark, through the soil, to the sunlight, we shall rise again. We are searching shall live again like the grasses, through the dark, through the soil, to the sunlight. We shall rise again. We are searching for the waters of life. We are moving. We shall live again like the grasses, through the dark, through the soil, to the sunlight. We shall rise again. We are searching for the waters of life. We are moving. We shall live again like the grasses, through the dark, through the soil, to the sunlight. We shall rise again. We are searching for the waters of life. We are moving. We shall live again like the grasses, through the dark, through the soil, to the sunlight. We shall rise again. We are searching for the waters of life. We are moving. We shall live again like the grasses, through the dark, through the soil, to the sunlight. We shall rise again. We are searching for the waters of life. We are moving. We shall live again. We will never lose our way to the well of her memory and the power of her living flame. It will rise again. We will never lose our way to the well of her memory and the power of her living flame. It will rise again. We will never lose our way to the well of her memory and the power of her living flame. It will rise again. We will never lose our way to the well of her memory and the power of her living flame. It will rise again. We will never lose our way to the well of her memory and the power of her living flame. It will rise again.
On Beauty by Cahill Gibran. And a poet said, "Speak to us of beauty." And he answered, "Where shall you seek beauty, and how shall you find her, unless she herself be your way and your guide? And how shall you speak of her, except she be the weaver of your speech? The aggrieved and the injured say, beauty is kind and gentle. Like a young mother, half shy of her own glory, she walks among us. And the passionate say, nay, beauty is a thing of might and dread. Like the tempest, she shakes the earth beneath us and the sky above us. The tired and the weary say, beauty is of soft whisperings. She speaks in our spirit. Her voice yields to our silences like a faint light that quivers in fear of the shadow. But the restless say, we have heard her shouting among the mountains, and with her cries come the sound of hooves, the beating of wings, and the roaring of lions. At night, the watchmen of the city say, Beauty shall rise with the dawn from the east. And at noontide the toilers and the wayfarers say, we have seen her leaning over the earth from the windows of the sunset. In winter, say the snowbound, she shall come with the spring leaping upon the hills. And in the summer heat the reapers say, we have seen her dancing with the autumn leaves, and we saw a drift of snow in her hair. All these things you have said of beauty, yet in truth you spoke not of her, but of needs unsatisfied. And beauty is not a need, but an ecstasy. It is not a mouth thirsting, nor an empty hand stretched forth, but rather a heart inflamed and a soul enchanted. It is not the image you would see, nor the song you would hear, but rather an image you see though you close your eyes, and a song you hear though you shut your ears. It is not the sap within the furrowed bark, nor a wing attached to a claw, but rather a garden forever in bloom, and a flock of angels forever in flight. People of Orphalese, beauty is life when life unveils her holy face. But you are life, and you are the veil. Beauty is eternity, gazing at itself in a mirror. But you are eternity, and you are the mirror.
Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaiting if we try, Lord, if we try. I was singing with my sisters. I was singing with my friends. And we all can sing together, 'cause the circle never ends. I was singing with my sisters. I was singing with my friends. And we all can sing together, 'cause the circle never ends. Oh, will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaiting if we try, Lord, if we try. I was born down in the valley where the sun refused to shine. But I'm climbing up to the highland, gonna make that mountain mine. Oh, will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky, in the sky, Lord, in the sky.
Oh, the Sunday offering is an expression of the generosity that makes our congregational life possible. Lao Tzu teaches in the Tao Te Ching, the master has no possessions. The more he does for others, the happier he is. The more she gives to others, the wealthier she is. Please text your donation to Chalice. If you haven't texted a donation before, know that once you text the amount, you'll get a reply with a link to follow to enter your credit card information. And if you've already entered this information previously when you've donated, you won't need to enter it again. If your Sunday donation is part of your pledge payment, please be sure to indicate pledge after the dollar amount. And also know that you can make a text donation anytime. It doesn't need to be during this worship hour. So the phone number will be on screen in a moment, and I'll also put it in the chat box. Please give generously. Please join in dedicating our offering with words of affirmation. As Unitarian Universalists, we gather to affirm and promote a free and responsible search for truth and meaning.
Our story today is Life, written by Cynthia Rylant and illustrated by Brendan Wenzel. Life begins small. Even for elephants. Then it grows. Beneath the sun and the moon. Life grows. Ask any animal on earth, what do you love about life? The hawk will say sky. The camel will say sand. The snake will say grass. The turtle may remain quiet. It has seen much in its 100 years, but the turtle loves life. How could it not, with so much rain on its back? Life is not always easy. There will probably be a stretch of wilderness now and then. But wilderness eventually ends. And there is always a new road to take. Remember this, in every corner of the world, there is something to love. And something to protect. And if one day it seems nothing beautiful will ever come your way again, trust the rabbit in the field and the deer who crosses your path. Trust the wolf and the wild geese who find their way back home. All these know something about life, that everything is changing. And it is worth waking up in the morning to see what might happen. Because life begins small and grows. The end.
I wandered, lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. Beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze, continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way, they stretched in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. A poet could not but be gay in such a jocund company. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought. For oft, when on my couch I lie, in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude. And then my heart with pleasure fills, and dances with the daffodils.
My blood doth rise in the roots of yon oak. Her sap doth run in my veins. Boundless my soul, like the open sky, where the stars forever have lain. Where the stars forever have lain. I feel the tides as they answer the moon, rushing on a far distant sand. Winging my song is the wind of my breast, and my love blows over the land. And my love, and my love, and my love blows over the land. My hands hold the weavings of time without end. My sight as deep as the sea. Beating my heart sounds the measures of old, that of love's eternity. That of love, that of love, that of love's eternity. My foot carries days of the old into new. Our dreaming shows us the way. Wondrous our faith settles deep in the earth, rising green to bring a new day. Rising green, rising green, rising green to bring a new day.
Beauty is the antidote to brokenness. May we see the beauty all around us. May we find laughter and hope when we need them. May we find each other when we need friendship and support. May we find joy. May we find comfort. May we find peace. May it be so. Blessed be. You are invited to close our time together by singing the well. Then please stay put for a quick announcement, a quick new announcement about our upcoming auction.
Hey Joel, do you want to get a ridiculously large amount of amazing Legos for only $5?
These Legos here?
Indeed!
Yeah, I love Legos.
Yeah, as you should. Hey Willow, she can't talk English. Alright, the true question is who wouldn't want to get these Legos? So, what I'm going to discuss here is that there is a new added fun part of the auction this year, and that is a kids section. Families can donate any items that are, as long as they're only gently used. So you can donate games, puzzles, toys, sports equipment, and so on. But sadly, you cannot donate stuffed animals, the likes that Willow would like to chew on. For a $5 fee, children will get $100 of bidding money that they can then use to bid towards items. No single item can be won for more than these $100, and no kid can spend more than these $100 total. Items can be donated without the $5 fee, but donors will still have to be registered. The auction will start at noon, Sunday, February 27th, and run through 5 p.m., Sunday, March 6th.